Children are sitting in classrooms right now, raising their hands with desperate energy, waiting for someone to notice them. Their eyes follow their teacher's every movement. They complete assignments faster than anyone else, not because they love learning, but because they crave the brief moment of acknowledgement that comes with being first. This is what attention hunger looks like, not the obvious kind where children act out or misbehave. This is the quiet desperation of children who have learned that love feels conditional, that their worth depends on performance, that being seen requires being extraordinary. You might recognize this child. Maybe you were this child. The psychology calls it attention-seeking behavior, but that term misses something crucial. These children aren't seeking attention for its own sake. They're seeking proof of their existence, proof that they matter, proof that they're enough. When a child lacks consistent, unconditional attention from their primary caregivers, their developing brain adapts. It creates survival strategies. The child becomes hyper-aware of adult moods, adult needs, adult expectations. They learn to read micro-expressions like a language. They become little psychologists, studying the people around them for clues about how to earn love. This isn't conscious. The child doesn't wake up thinking, I need to analyze my parents' facial expressions today. Their nervous system simply recognizes that attention equals safety, that being noticed means being cared for, that invisibility feels dangerous. So they perform, they achieve, they help. They become the good child, the responsible child, the child who never causes problems. They learn that their emotional needs are secondary to keeping the adults in their life happy and stable. This is how attention-deprived children often become attention-giving children. They focus outward, constantly scanning for what others need, what others want, what others expect. Their own internal world becomes secondary, sometimes invisible even to themselves. The brain science behind this is both fascinating and heartbreaking. When children don't receive consistent emotional attunement from caregivers, their stress response system remains activated. Cortisol floods their developing neural pathways. The parts of their brain responsible for self-soothing and emotional regulation don't develop optimally. Instead, the brain prioritizes survival skills, pattern recognition, threat detection, social scanning. These children become incredibly intuitive about other people's emotions, but they struggle to identify and regulate their own feelings. You see this in classrooms every day. The child who notices immediately when their teacher seems upset. The child who offers to help before being asked. The child who remembers everyone's birthday but forgets to advocate for their own needs. Teachers often love these children. They're helpful, considerate, mature beyond their years. But this maturity comes at a cost. While other children are learning through play, through making mistakes, through being authentically themselves, attention-deprived children are learning to be what others need them to be. This creates what psychologists call a false self, a carefully constructed persona designed to earn approval and avoid abandonment. The true self, with its authentic needs and feelings and desires, gets buried deeper and deeper. The tragedy is that these children often do receive attention for their performance. Teachers praise them, parents feel proud of their responsibility and helpfulness. Other adults comment on how mature and well-behaved they are. This attention feels good, but it's conditional. It's based on doing, not being. So the child learns that their authentic self isn't enough. That love must be earned through achievement, through helpfulness, through being who others need them to be. They develop what researchers call an external locus of control, constantly looking outside themselves for validation and direction. This pattern doesn't disappear in adulthood. These children grow up to become adults who struggle with boundaries, who say yes when they mean no, who prioritize everyone else's needs above their own, who feel guilty for taking up space or having opinions or expressing needs. They become the friend who always listens but never talks about their own problems, the employee who stays late without being asked, the partner who anticipates every need but struggles to communicate their own, the parent who gives and gives until they're depleted, then feels guilty for feeling depleted. They've learned that their value lies in their utility. that love is something to be earned rather than something to be received, that their own needs are selfish and their own feelings are burdens. But here's what's crucial to understand. The attention these children craved wasn't about being the center of the universe. It wasn't about being spoiled or indulged. It was about being seen, really seen, not for what they could do or achieve or provide, but for who they were in their messy, imperfect, authentic humanity. This kind of attention, what psychologists call attunement, is different from praise or rewards or even quality time. Attunement is when a caregiver notices and responds to the child's internal emotional state. When they see that the child is frustrated and acknowledge that frustration before trying to fix it. When they notice the child's excitement and reflect it back. When they sit with the child's sadness without trying to make it go away. Attunement tells the child that their inner world matters, that their feelings are valid, that they don't have to perform or achieve or help to be worthy of care and attention. Children who receive consistent attunement develop what researchers call secure attachment. They learn that they can trust others to care about their well-being. They develop the capacity for emotional regulation because they've experienced being regulated by someone else. They learn that relationships are based on connection, not performance. But children who lack this attunement learn different lessons. They learn that their emotional needs are inconvenient, that their authentic selves are not enough, that love is conditional and attention must be earned. These children often become incredibly successful in traditional metrics. They're high achievers, people pleasers, natural leaders. They're often described as resilient and mature. But inside, they carry a persistent sense of emptiness, a feeling that they're never quite enough, no matter what they accomplish. They struggle with what psychologists call emotional object constancy. They can't hold on to the feeling of being loved when they're not actively earning it. They need constant reassurance, constant proof, constant external validation to feel okay about themselves. This creates exhausting relationship patterns. They give and give and give, then feel resentful when their efforts aren't reciprocated. They struggle to ask for what they need because they've learned that their needs are burdensome. They feel guilty for having feelings, for taking up space, for not being grateful enough for what they have. The healing process for adults who were attention-deprived children often involves learning to parent themselves, learning to notice their own feelings without immediately trying to fix them or justify them, learning to set boundaries without feeling guilty, learning that they can be loved for who they are, not just for what they do. This isn't about blaming parents or caregivers. Many parents who struggle to provide consistent attunement were themselves attention-deprived children. They're doing their best with the tools they have. Understanding this pattern isn't about assigning fault, it's about breaking cycles. For those working with children who seem to hunger for attention, the key is recognizing the difference between attention-seeking and connection-seeking. These children don't need more praise for their achievements. They don't need more rewards for good behavior. They need to be seen and valued for their authentic selves. This means noticing when a child seems sad and acknowledging that sadness. It means reflecting back their excitement about small things. It means sitting with their frustration without immediately trying to solve their problems. It means showing interest in their thoughts and feelings, not just their performance. It means teaching them that they don't have to earn love, that they don't have to be perfect to be worthy, that their feelings matter, even when those feelings are inconvenient or difficult. For the adults who recognize themselves in this pattern, healing is possible. It starts with developing what therapists call a compassionate inner voice. Learning to speak to yourself the way you would speak to a beloved friend. Learning to notice your own needs without judgment. Learning that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It means practicing setting boundaries, even when it feels uncomfortable. It means learning to receive care from others without feeling like you have to earn it. It means developing the capacity to sit with your own emotions without immediately trying to fix them or make them more palatable for others. The child who learned to read every adult face for signs of approval can learn to tune in to their own internal compass. The child who learned to prioritize everyone else's needs can learn that their own needs matter too. The child who learned to perform for love can learn to receive love simply for existing. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, practice, and often professional support. But it is possible to heal from a childhood of attention deprivation. It's possible to develop secure relationships as an adult, even if you didn't experience them as a child. The attention-deprived child inside every people-pleaser, every overachiever, every person who struggles to take up space is still there, still waiting to be seen, still hoping that this time, finally, they'll be enough. They were always enough. They just needed someone to notice.